Hello, and welcome to Brothers of the Realm. I'm Chud Lightly, and today we're going to start a new deck building series on this channel. With the launch of Ethereum Legends, deck building has changed a bit. It's gone from a spellbook of 40 cards in an Atlas of 20 to a spellbook of 50 cards in an Atlas deck of 30. This change allows for a lot of different deck building options, even in the same archetype of deck. When it comes to deck building in Sorcery, there are many different ways to approach it. One of the most fun ways, and the way I usually deck build, is by choosing a specific card or a group of cards that work well together or seem to have a powerful or interesting ability. In the past, I used this technique to build around one of my favorite cards from Alpha and Beta, the Nimbus Djinn. But today we're going to be building around this crafty little space wizard, Archimago. Archimago is one of the 4 new avatars introduced in Arthurian Legends, and it has a very powerful ability. By banishing 3 magic spells from your cemetery, you are able to cast one of the chosen cards, allowing you to reuse any powerful spells you may have in your cemetery. This allows you to play as many magic spells as you possibly can, as fast as possible, without running out of gas in the later game. There are multiple ways you could go about building an Archimago deck, but I think one of the most fun and most obvious ways is just trying to hurl as many fire bolts and magic missiles at your opponent's face as possible. So that's exactly what we're going to try to do today. Now, to actually start building the list, I highly recommend using the official deck builder at Curiosa.io. Now let's go take a look. Okay, so now that we're in Curiosa.io, we first of all need to make our account if you haven't already, and then we're going to create our deck. One of the easiest ways to do it is just click this little plus sign here to create a deck. As we said previously, we're going to be focusing on the Archimago today, so let's make it Archimago Earn, as that seems to be the best option for this guy. Alright, so what we're going to want to do straight away is go into edit mode here, and there are a couple ways you can build this Archimago. I feel like let's just try to put as much burn spells as we can, so as much direct damage spells and removal, and as many cards that say draw, so that we can just continue to feed this guy. So I think fire and air will probably be the best combo for this what we're trying to go for. And first, let's just look at the magic. Since Archimago's ability only really works off of magic abilities, we want as many of those in our deck as possible. Alright, so let's go through and just add all the cards that we may want, and then we can cut down from there. Arcane Barrage, certainly. Arc Lightning, possibly, but I don't think it's a little expensive for just 4 damage to nearby, so this might be a possibility if we need some additional cards, but likely that might be cut. This one's certainly good. It can be early game, mid game, late game. You can pay as much mana as you like and deal that much damage. This is probably going to be a huge card in the deck. Let's continue. Backstab, Ball Lightning. This one might be okay. Let's put 1 copy of that for this turn. Give an ally movement. We're going to not really have too many allies on the board. I don't believe this is great. Blink is going to be fantastic. It allows us to teleport an ally to a nearby location, and more importantly, draw a card. So it will replace itself and fill our graveyard to fuel our Archimago ability. So let's go with 4 of these for now. Destroy all minions on a water site up to 2 steps away. Maybe, but that's more of a sideboard type card. Let's skip this for now. Browse, absolutely. Get to look at the top 7 cards and choose one and put the rest on the bottom. Cast by an allied mortal. We're probably not going to have many mortals casting spells. Our avatar does not count as a mortal, so we'll move along. Cast into Exile seems to be an excellent removal spell. Let's go ahead and put the max of that. 2 damage to a nearby ally. Any number of times you spend 2, you can choose a new unit. I don't think so. This doesn't deal any damage. It is a strong card, but I don't think that's what we were looking for. Deal damage in a cone effect. Not too bad, but we're going to be here at this dot, and the enemy avatar is going to be over here, so we're only going to be dealing 1 damage all the way across there for 6 mana. This doesn't seem the most powerful at this time. Banish target minion nearby and everything it carries. Yes, we are going to want that. Disenchant, possibly, but maybe not. Let's continue on. Dream Quest. Allied spellcaster falls asleep and is disabled until hurt. At the start of your next turn, if it's still asleep, you may wake it up to search your card for... this doesn't really work with your avatar, because I don't believe your avatar is able to even go to sleep. So I don't think this card is great for what we want to do. Feast for Crows, absolutely. That lets us name any spell, and we can search our opponent's hand, spellbook, and cemetery for those cards and banish them. Very strong, especially if we can do it multiple times in a game. Fireball, not particularly impressive, but it could be good. We can add one of those for now just to remind ourselves. Firebolts, this is going to be the bread and butter of our deck. This and the magic missiles, which is the air equivalent. So we're going to want to max out on those. Fire breathing, beast or dragons, we're probably not going to have any of those. Flame wave, this is an excellent finisher card. So you choose one side of the board, and the side you choose deals 7, 5, 3, and 1 damage respectively. Very good for finishing the game. Strong in general. Good board wipe. Well, I'm going to add 2 of those into the deck. Flanking maneuver. Teleport any number of allies at one location to another location a chess knight's move away. So that's like an L shape if you're unfamiliar. It also draws a card, but it doesn't deal any damage, and it costs 3, so probably not at this time. Grapple shot. Maybe if we add more allies into our deck. Heat Ray, deal 2 damage to 1 unit at each location along its path. I actually do think this will be a good card in this deck. That way, if they have any blockers in front of their avatars trying to block our projectiles like our firebolts, we can pierce right through it. I do like this one. Immolation, deals 7 damage to a target minion nearby. We can put it in for now and see. Incinerate, deal 4 damage to each other unit at target location near the caster or a dragon. I think it's a bit pricey. We'll see if we need that. Infiltrate, let's certainly use this. So this will act as a type of removal, as well as we could flip it into damage. We gain control of an enemy minion until it deals damage. This has been errated and to say until it loses stealth. Still strong. Joust, no, probably not. King's Council, we're not going to have very many unique allies, so no. Lava Flow, lava flows from the caster's site in a cardinal direction. Deal damage to each other unit occupying. Again, probably not, as this won't even reach our enemy avatar, and it costs a bit of mana. Lightning Bolt, absolutely. We will put 4 of those in there. Leap Attack, no thank you. Draw a card and then give an ally +1 movement this turn. This might actually be semi-useful, so let's put 1 in there just so we can remember. Magic Missiles, we're going to want to max those out. Major Explosion. Target a location up to 2 steps away and then deal damage to each unit at the locations in the area of effect. I do think this is going to be strong. It does cost a lot. However, this is an excellent finisher because even at your starting position, you can choose the square in front of your avatar, your opposing avatar, I mean, which would be 2 steps away, and it'd still do 5 damage to them. So let's put 1 of these in for now. Meteor Shower, very similar to this Major Explosion. It costs 2 more. It does have a better effect. However, even the Major Explosion is a bit expensive. I don't think we're getting up to 9. We want to try to win the game with as few sights as possible, because that means we're drawing as many spells as possible to damage our opponent. Minor Explosion, potentially. Let's go ahead and put 2 of those in for now. Mortality, kill all mortal minions. Depending on the meta, this could be very strong or it could be underwhelming. However, since we're already at 41 of our 50 spells, I think we can pass. Occult Ritual. Each allied spellcaster, unlikely. Pact with the Devil. Sacrifice the spellcaster or lose half your life, rounding up. If you do, draw 3 cards. I do think we're going to be using this card, so let's go ahead and put this in, because I do think we'll be adding some spellcaster minions shortly. Peasant Revolt. This could actually be pretty useful in this deck, seeing as how... We'll see. We'll put that in for now. Poison Nova is very strong. Let's add one of those. Power of Flight. Give an allied minion airborne and draw a spell. The draw spell is strong, however, I'm not sure if we're going to need this. Deal 1 damage to each minion here. They're disabled. No, not enough range on that one. Deal 1 damage to each above ground minion. This one could be actually pretty decent. Let's add 1 in just to remind ourselves. Scorched Earth will destroy our own sites and everything on it. That's good if your opponent's coming onto your sites or if you're playing Roots of Yggdrasil. I don't think we need that. We don't need this. We don't need that. Nope. Nope. Negative. No thank you. Vanishment. I do think we want this. Give all allied minions stealth and draw a card. Stealth makes your minions unblockable, so let's add 1 of these for right now. Waypoint Portal, Whirling Blades, and Whirlwind and Wind Blast. Okay, so that's all the spells we looked through, and we're already at 46, so we're definitely going to need to cut things. Now let's look at the minions. Let's turn this off. Let's look at the minions. Apprentice Wizard could be very strong. Allows us to chump block as well as cast minion spells from him as the origin. Pretty good. So let's just add 1 for now so we can remember him. None of these other ones. I'm mainly just looking for spellcasters or minions that draw us a card. I have a couple in mind. Let's go with Cauldron Crones could be good. Our deck is already a little heavy on cards, so let's pass on that because it does require another minion. Let's see what else. Grandmaster Wizard is always a strong addition. Again, we may not be getting to this mana threshold, and we might not want mortals. Let's just see what happens. Alright. Again, I'm looking for cards that draw us a card or are spellcasters. Merlin, we'll certainly use him. So he costs 3 and he's a 3 power, which is fair by itself. He's a spellcaster. And then anytime during your turn, Merlin may look at the next spell in your deck and cast it if it's magic. Now, of course, you still have to pay, but that basically adds the top card of your deck into your hand, because you can do this multiple times. So if you have multiple cheap spells, he can burn through the top of your deck and deal a lot of damage to your opponent. Fantastic card. This is another one that's very good for our deck. Morgana Le Fay. She's a spellcaster with stealth. She also, when you play her, she'll draw 3 cards of her own, and then she can cast them only. So it's a kind of like drawing 3 cards for yourself. However, she has to be the origin of any of the spells she casts. But the kicker is, if and when she dies, all the cards that are in her hand will go into your discard, and that'll help fuel your Archimago ability. So we'll certainly add her. Let's go with... let's see, what else? I definitely want the Sisters of Avalon once we get to them. None of these other ones are jumping out to me at this time. Alright, we don't want any of these Sirs. We don't want to... None of them really fit with our theme. Alright, here we are. Sisters of Avalon. A 2-drop for 1 power, so it can be used as a chump blocker in case your opponent's trying to attack you or your sites. Spellcaster. Genesis, discard a spell to draw a spell. So if you don't have any spells in your hand, you will just get to draw a card because you can't discard. And it says discard first, then draw. However, even if you do, you can just discard the spell and use it as fuel for your Archimago later. So we definitely want 3 of these. Let's see if there's anything else that jumps out. Alright, I don't believe there are. While we're at it, let's just go ahead and check the auras and artifacts, just in case there is anything that could be impressive for us. 13 Treasures of Britain. This is when you pick it up, you draw a card, and then it teleports to a random site. We could try to do this, but I don't think we have enough minions or units across the board to continually pick this up. We could combo this with our with a Kytherin mechanism, but I'm not sure if we want to play that. We could do the cores. I think the cores are wise in this deck, at least the red or the fire and air one, as well as the Philosopher's Stone. Angel's Egg could be good because we're not going to have a lot of defenders, so we might be taking a lot of extra damage that we normally wouldn't. So this could really help us keep our life healthy. It will proc at the end of each player's turn, so each time we'll gain 1 life. Let's go ahead. We don't want to add a bunch of these cards because they aren't magic. So Merlin can't cast them, and we can't cycle them with Archimago. Let's see. We could certainly play this card if we wanted to. We'll sacrifice it, and the next time we cast an elemental spell, it will cost 4 less to cast, which is very strong. However, we don't want to put too many quote-unquote dead cards in our deck, but this might be an option, especially if we're trying to hit these bigger numbers like Major Explosion and Flame Wave. So let's continue. Now there is a land that Impenetrable Copes that blocks all projectiles, which could be an issue. So this might be a good card for our sideboard. So what I'm going to do is click on it, and then you can add it to sideboard. And then maybe board is where cards that you're considering adding. But for now, let's just add that into there so we don't forget about it. Here's the Kythera mechanism. We could add this to make our lightning bolts, our lightning bolts more accurate, because then we get to choose the random outcome. And we could play Thunderstorms, which is a very strong card. So let's see. Merlin's Staff. They get Spellcaster and +1 power for each magic spell. I don't think we really need that. Let's move along. Orb of Balberith. So this one is interesting. The first time a magic spell is cast nearby, the Orb of Balberith creates a copy, and you can choose new targets. I'm gonna add this in. It seems very strong and exactly what we kind of want to do in our deck. Let's add the Philosopher's Stone and the Ruby Core. We're going to skip Ring of Morrigan, which is a strong card. However, we're not really going to have too many other units around us to ping, so most of the time this won't do much. Let's see. Thunderstorm, I think, is just too good to not play. Alrighty. So we're at 63 spells. Let's go back to the deck list. 63 spells. Let's see what we can start cutting. We could cut the Kythera mechanism. We don't really need it, and it's just another card that isn't a magic spell. Let's cut the Apprentice Wizard. We have the Sisters of Avalon now. We could cut the Grandmaster Wizard. Yeah, let's cut him. I think he's just a little too expensive, and we're just trying to play our hand as quickly as possible. So what are we at now? We're at 46. Oh, pardon me. We are at 60 spells, so we need to cut 10. Arcane Barrage is certainly staying in. Browse, definitely staying in. Immolation, we can cut this one. I don't think we need 7 damage to a nearby target. Blinks, those are definitely in. Cast into Exile, very good removal. However, we could probably drop that to 2. Firebolts we want to 100% keep. Lightning Bolts we want to keep. Mad Dash, we can drop this. I don't think we're going to be needing movement. Lightning Bolts we want. Magic Missiles we want. Rain of Arrows. Since it doesn't deal with the enemy avatar, let's just cut this one. I think there are better removal spells. Disintegrate, let's keep that in. Feast for Crows, let's keep it in. Heat Ray, let's drop this one down to 3, just for now, to start cutting a few cards. Minor Explosion. We can go ahead and drop this one as well. We'll see if we want to add that back. Vanishment. Now that I'm seeing our minions, let's just go ahead and cut this. We're probably not going to need that at all. Arc Lightning. No, I'd rather have Immolate, so let's just remove this. Fireball, kind of the same situation. It's just not that efficient. Infiltrate, I think we want to keep that. Pact with the Devil, we'll keep that as well. If we infiltrate one of their units and then we could pact it away and sacrifice theirs, that'll be awesome. Ball Lightning, it deals 4 damage on impact, then changes directions, and then changes directions again. This one we could cut, we could keep. Let's see, we are at exactly 50 spell books, spell cards, so let's see if there's anything else we might want to put in its place or that I'm missing. We could add the mechanism back in, since we do have thunderstorms and lightning bolts. I think 1 ball lightning is okay. The Peasant's Revolt. Destroy everything unique or elite in the realm. Let's add this. Oops. Let's add this to our maybe board for now. Because it kind of depends on what sites we're going to be playing if we want to destroy everything in the realm. But this is very strong, so I think we're going to keep it in. Poison Nova is very strong. Flame Wave. I suppose we can go down to just one of these. And then Major Explosion. Let's keep... And actually, let's drop Major Explosion. I think it's just too expensive, and we have plenty of other damage dealers. So now we have 3 spells, 3 options still. Let's go ahead and add that mechanism again. Let's add it back in. And then we could add Highland Princess, which she lets us search for any of our 1-drop artifacts and put it into our hand. That can be very strong. Lets us grab any of our cores, our Philosopher's Stone, our Cathera Mechanism, and then she can be used as a chump blocker. Let's see, we're at 49 spells. Let's just go ahead and put... I'm considering either putting Peasants' Revolt back in or adding this Hamlet's Ablaze to our main deck. Let's just go ahead and put Peasants' Revolt back in. There we are. Okay, so this is going to be our starting off core deck. So let's go, our spellbook rather. So let's go and see the Atlas. So let's go back to edit mode. Let's click on our sites. And we want to look at the fire sites, the air sites, and the none sites. Afterwards we can check the others, but this will just make it a bit easier. Alright, we certainly want to add some... Our goal is to deal as much damage to our opponent as possible, as quickly as possible. So we want these arid deserts. They just deal 1 damage to each minion. We don't need anything about the void. We don't want to give our opponent mana or threshold. We don't need this. Gain 1 for each nearby site with an enemy on it. Probably not, but maybe we can add that in. Boneyard. Each player summons a minion from their cemetery. Our minions aren't that impressive, so I'd rather not give our opponent another minion back. We could do, you may destroy all weapons and armor nearby. Let's definitely add some of those in case there's any crazy weapons or armor. And it also provides fire threshold for us. Perfect. Now this card is pretty crazy. I feel like it should go in almost every deck. All mortals in the realm become beasts and are silenced. So it would turn off our Morgana Le Fay, our Merlin. Well, now on second thought, maybe not. Yeah, all of our guys are mortals. So this is actually a card we're going to be a little bit afraid of, but it won't affect us too much because our minions are a definite afterthought to the core of our deck. We don't need to untap stuff or anything like that. We don't need these extra earth threshold. Unique minions cost 1 less to cast to nearby sites. Now this also works for your opponent, and it doesn't provide any threshold, so I don't think we really need it, despite us having, especially since we only have 3 unique mortals, and they all only cost 3 or less. Cloud City, on the other hand, is mandatory, especially if we get to start on this one. It'll allow us to fly around and keep our Merlin safe, or it'll allow us to reposition some of our minions. Not our Merlin safe, but our Avatar safe. This is a strong card. Crossroads, I don't necessarily think we need. Alright, Cursed Land. Whenever another site is played nearby, its controller loses 2 life. I like this one, and I think this will be in our favor more often than not, so I do want to put 2 of those in my deck. The towers are amazing, so let's add those. 1 of each at least for now. The Dome of Osiris. This site and minions here cannot be attacked. I think this is going to be strong for us since we are going to be left undefended most of the time. So a site that they can't attack does sound good. Anyone can summon armor and stuff there. No thank you. No thank you. No thank you. This one is good. Fields of Camelon. Genesis, if you have 3 fire threshold, each player chooses one of their minions and kills all the rest. So we will add that. We don't want to conjure any lance tokens. Free City, let's add 3 of these for the same reason that we're adding Dome of Osiris. This is a site that kind of defends itself. It has 3 power. Let's add Funeral Pyre. This is a fire threshold, and it allows us to banish up to 3 cards in one player's cemetery. This is another card that we might be afraid of, but it can help us as well, and it doesn't hurt us with by providing the fire threshold, so certainly strong. We don't necessarily need this earth threshold, so we don't want that. Here's the other tower. We could play Great Wall. I don't think we really need to. Actually, yes. That way we can kind of protect our sites. If we can put this on the site in front of us, it can slow our opponent down a couple turns, and we are still able to shoot through it. Imperial Road lets us ramp mana faster. I don't think we need that in this deck. We don't need the triple land again. Let's see. This site I don't think is very good at all. Here's the 3rd tower. Alright, Merlin's Tower. So let's add this. If we have 3 air threshold, Genesis, this turn this tower gains Spellcaster and can cast its next magic spell for 3 less. So effectively this can be 4 mana the turn you play it, or just providing the 1, and then you could cast a 3 cast spell for free, quote unquote, with this one, so pretty strong. This one allows us to pick up sites that we had previously played and replay them with things like our what was it, Merlin's Tower, our Fields of Camlan, and our towers. I think this is actually pretty strong in this deck, so let's add that. Mirror Realm is just very strong. It allows you to play a 2nd copy of any site you already have. Mountain Pass I don't think is necessary. Mud Flows, not necessary. Oasis is the wrong colors. Observatory, this is going to be very good. It allows us to look at the top 3 spells of our deck and put them back in any order. So that'll come in very handy. Perilous Bridge is very similar to the Great Wall. So let's go ahead and add those as some more protection. However, this one provides air threshold, so that's certainly in our favor. Alright, Poisoned Well is similar to the Cursed Lands. However, when you play it down, enemy avatars lose 1 life for each nearby site they control. So this could do 2, 3 damage. If you get super lucky, it may do more. It could only do 1, but either way, playing a site and dealing damage to your opponent is nice. So let's go ahead and add the max of those, which is 3. Postern Gate, we don't really need that. We aren't going to be attacking our opponent. We'll add 1 more of each of the basic deserts. And we will add River of Flame. This is a fire spellcaster, just very strong. Here is our dual land. We can add 3 of those. Smokestacks of Knack. This could be pretty good. However, a lot of our sites have abilities that we want to keep using, so I don't think we want to use this. Let's see. I see here we're already at 36 sites, so we're certainly going to need to cut some stuff, but that's okay. Vesuvius can also be strong. If you have 3 fire threshold, you can sacrifice this, and then each unit occupying nearby sites takes 3 damage. This can sometimes catch your opponent off guard and finish the job. Watchtower, I think, is very strong in this format because there's a lot of stealth minions and stealth abilities, and this is enemy units atop nearby sites permanently lose stealth. So very good. Even if they move away, they won't regain it unless they have some other ability that allows them to do so. And then finally, the Wizard's Den. Let's definitely play that. When you play it out, you get to draw a spell, and then you discard a spell when this site is successfully attacked for the first time. So it just gives you a slight advantage. Exactly what this deck wants to do, though, is draw more cards. Alright, so now that we've looked through all the sites and we kind of have an idea of all the ones we want to play, let's go back and trim it down. because we are currently 11 sites over. Alright, Beacon I don't think is going to make the cut. The Bonfires probably also won't make the cut. And we don't need to be particularly careful about our thresholds. We do have a couple of triple threshold spells. However, it does look like with only 2 colors we should be pretty safe, especially if we have a decent split. And currently we're at 57 fire and 42% air threshold. So let's try to focus on cutting more fire than we do air, but whatever happens is fine. Dome of Osiris, it doesn't provide any threshold. It's still pretty good. I think we should keep this. This is definitely going to be kept. Free City as well, the same situation with the Dome. It's just strong, especially with our lack of minions. Funeral Pyre, we could probably cut this down to 2. Or even actually, let's just go ahead and cut it all together. We're not going to really need that. And we have a lot of cards to cut, so that one's okay. One of each tower, the Merlin Tower, Mirage. This lets you play some more sites again. And you don't have to replace it, so... Let's see what else. I'm trying to see the least efficient sites we have. It would probably be... Honestly, probably these deserts, as much as I kind of don't want to cut them. We could cut the cursed land, but I think we want to keep that. This is a bit better if we have a way to place sites deeper into our opponent's field. Like, say, if we were using Cornerstone or Rift Valley. Our Cloud City kind of can do that. We can push our Cloud City up and then play Cursed Lands off of that. But I think we'll cut Cursed Lands for now. We need to cut 3 more sites. Let's go ahead and cut... let's see where our percentage is. We're at 50-50 right now. We do have more air cost in our deck than fire. So let's go ahead and trim... I think we can go ahead and trim one of the deserts. And 2 more sites. Let's see. I think we can cut the Great Wall. We have a couple of other sites that do something similar, such as the Perilous Bridge, that also provides air threshold, and then we have Dome of Osiris and Free City. And the final site let's cut. I could cut one of the free cities and just go down to 2. Let's see if there's anything else in here that stands out more. Actually, let's just cut this Dome of Osiris. The reason being is because we are playing this Peasant Revolt, so I kind of want to reduce the amount of elite and unique sites. Currently we're at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 of our 30 sites are elite or unique. I think we might want to cut this Peasant Revolt, to be honest. This might not be the deck for this. So let's cut this Peasant's Revolt, and let's add another Ball Lightning, or let's go back with up on this Heat Ray. Alright, so that was a I think this deck looks pretty decent. We're at 50-30. We've got 48% fire threshold, 51% air, with a 33% cost and 66% cost on air. Not too bad. We are heavy in the 2 mana curve, which is kind of exactly where we want to be. We want to just start. We want to establish 4 or 5 sites, and then just start drawing spells every turn and playing them down, and then finish with drawing a site and playing our Flame Wave for the win, or whatever circumstance arise. But we only have we only have 1 card that's over 6, and we are only playing 3 cards that cost 5. So in theory, we should be able to go pretty quickly and burn through our opponent. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and put this deck together physically, and I'm going to play it in our locals on Wednesday, and I will report back and see how it goes. I hope this was helpful on the deck building process. I know I went a little quick and kind of skipped some things, but that's the general consensus or the general process I use for building a deck. I'll add as many cards as I think could fit into the theme I'm trying to go, and then I'll trim it down afterwards. And this website, Curiosa, is the official deck builder website for Sorcery, and it is a fantastic resource for all of your needs. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll let you know the results. Thank you.